Everyone. It is 1:07, and let's call this meeting to order. Claudia, would you please take roll call?
Member Barrage?
What did you say?
Barish?
Oh, here.
Member Miller? Member Anto?
Here.
Member Almond?
Here.
Member Muschetti? Member Bradley?
Here?
Member Pierce?
Here.
No.
Chair Avian?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2, public expression on non-agenda items. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak on non-agenda items? Doesn't appear so. Okay, let's,
I think it would be nice to introduce our new member.
We have a new member?
Is Sarah a new member here on the board? On the committee, or she just?
yeah, she was here
well,
last
I'm
meeting.
sorry, I
What's
don't
that?
remember.
Yeah, this is fine, third or fourth time.
Yeah. Okay, so we're good?
Yeah.
All right, moving on to item 3, committee matters. Item 3A, approval of minutes from the May 22nd, 2024 regular meeting. Does anyone have anything to say about the minutes, or?
It looked okay to me. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as submitted.
All right. Ace. Can we have a, what is it called?
Do you want a roll call vote or hands?
Another roll call.
Yes, please.
Member Pierce?
Yes.
Member Bradley?
Yes.
Member Almond?
Here, or yes?
Member Anto?
Yes.
Member Barrage?
Yes.
Chair Avian?
Yes. Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Item 3B, August 2024 Measure B Financial Report. So, Andrea, I think it's over to you.
Good afternoon. Just a few things to note that aren't on the report right now, but I wanted to bring to you. The year-to-date revenue that we have came in about 20%, 26% more, or a little over 500,000 than what we originally budgeted. So at 2.5 instead of 2 million. Quarter 4 interest is not posted yet, but once they close out, I believe it will be posted. So hopefully that will be on our September invoice or September report. We did receive the final 887 invoice that it came in at 61,379, which is approximately 7,000 less than 22-23. But the original approved budget amount was $20,000, and that's because when we did the budget in March, we didn't have the numbers yet, so I just wanted to, we didn't know that 22-23 numbers came in, so
What
just
was
wanted.
it? Can you tell us again what that was for?
The 887?
What is that?
Oh, 887 are overhead charges that departments receive that aren't directly charged to the department, such as like information services, facilities, auditor, controller. They reconcile that at a later date. So if they didn't directly charge us, then we get charged in the 887 cost. Sarah might have, if I didn't explain that correctly, she might know.
No, you explained it perfectly. The 87 is always 2 years in arrear. So in fiscal year 24-25 that we're filing right now, it looks at 22-23's actuals and chews them up.
Yeah.
So is that the information that's presented in Budget 4052, that report?
In budget,
It,
I'm sorry.
like on page 4 of this
Oh,
report?
yes.
Yes?
Yes.
You call that 887?
A as in
Dash.
apple, 87, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, great.
And if there's any other questions that anybody have, let me know.
I have a couple. So I thought, when I went over the agenda, helped to prepare the agenda, that we were going to have an item on it, and that stemmed from our last meeting, whereby, I can't remember his name, but the man presented some information to us about the RFP for the PUF, and that was going to be, I guess, the RFP was going to be finalized at the end of June, I believe. And I'm wondering where we are with the RFP for the PUF.
I can't answer that, but I can take it back to,
Are you talking about the contractor?
Yes.
Hi, this is,
Well,
this is,
remember he stood up at our podium,
They picked a contractor and they're already working.
but we haven't seen the RFP. It's not so much who's doing it, but what's the RFP that was accepted? So with that, we know.
Who it is.
Not who, but in our budget, what to put in there. We don't have any information.
the RFP, a bid came back on the RFP for that when the contractor was submitted and awarded, there is an amount.
I couldn't understand what you said, Darcy, sorry.
So the RFP, we made a bid, it was awarded. So we've selected the contractor, we did the groundbreaking the other day. So that project is moving forward. When the award was given to the contractor, it was given on an amount that he submitted. So he submitted an amount. That amount is known. You're gonna ask me what it is today, I don't know that. But it is less than what we thought. But I don't recall the exact amount. But we can get you that number.
Okay.
If that's what
Yeah,
you share.
that would be great. Yeah, that's what I was looking for, was what is that number? And I'd be curious to know the broad outline of what it covers, so that as it relates to our budget for the PUF, let me get there.
Do we know the name of the company? Everybody keeps saying the contractor.
State.
Pardon me?
MID, M-I-D, state. S-T-A-T.
Okay.
So in our financial report, under the specific projects, Project 2, the PUF, there's a budget outline there. And I would just love to see how some of the broad information in that RFP, so we're able to see how it connects to our budget, our
Okay,
PUF budget.
I can work with Mary Alice or whoever is working on it. I can't see who is reporting today. But in the board packet by the Board of Supervisors, the bid was approved with Mid-State Construction Corporation and $13.3 million. I can't hear whoever's talking.
So, Darcy, Mary Alice was saying that she could get that information and update the report.
Yeah, okay. What is this the?
It was on July 23rd's Board of Supervisors agenda.
Is the actual RFP included in that?
The RFP is not, but the agreement is, which should outline the scope of work.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that was one thing. And then the other thing, well, the long-term financial plan is a work in progress. I understand that the county's closing its books, so that's got to happen first. So the last thing is the contract, let's see, where the projects that we currently have in our budget, mainly the 4 of them: mobile outreach, aftercare, community education awareness and support, which was the NAMI contract, or NAMI, and then the Coast Crisis Respite Program. So I would love to know where we are with those. Like, if we're putting together a long-term financial plan, I had a question mark from our last meeting whether or not mobile outreach was in its last year, or is that going to continue, and is it going to continue at the same use that's been happening up to this point? Can anyone, are you able to speak to that?
Well, Alman will weigh in that if there was any discussion of having it short-term, I wasn't at that meeting, because I was under the impression that the mobile outreach is something that is working well and we're funding it. So forgive me if I misspoke, but I certainly am very supportive of a continuing. I know that's not the discussion here. The discussion is strictly financial, but as far as the underlying cost of that financial, the reason for it is it's proving to be very beneficial and financially worthy of the county. So I would entertain a future motion at a later meeting to say that we're going to continue doing it as long as we have the funds to do it, because it works. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with the program itself. It's mainly that we had originally budgeted $340,000 a year for 4 years. So we had, I guess, 1.36 million budgeted for it. And up to this point, well, we're pretty close to that number. Yeah, I guess, so mobile outreach, that's number 5, 6, 7, and 8. I would love at our next meeting if we could get updates as to where we are in relation to these contracts.
Fiscally update where we are, or just what program update? Like, are we going to continue them, are we not, or that
Yes,
kind of
like
thing?
what are the contract dates that we currently have in place for these programs? From when to when? And then so that would be the first part, and the second part would be, well, let's say a program ends in 2026, is it reasonable to assume for the long-term budget plan is it reasonable to assume budgeting for that beyond 2026? That kind of stuff.
And Sherry, if I may say too, also for mobile outreach, we've actually had grants that we had applied for, so we haven't been using that bucket of money. We're actually coming in, I mean, right now we've only spent $182,000 since we have Measure B funds. due to the grants that we've had to cover that. But the grants are coming to an end, and of course, if there's other grants that are out there that we're going to be able to apply for, we will continue to apply for those.
Okay, right.
Yeah, just to let you know.
Yeah, that's
And
important,
we
because,
always are
yeah,
looking at other options too, to cover those programs.
right, because we budgeted 1.36 million, and we've spent under 200,000. So, but that's not necessarily, like you said, going to continue. So that one, NAMI, does anyone know, is NAMI still a working contract? Where are we with NAMI? That was number 6.
Well, Donna's not here, but I'm quite sure that NAMI stopped the services that we were paying for several reasons. So I don't think there's any current expenditures for NAMI. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
That's correct.
So the 130,000 that's been spent on that contract, is that going to be the final amount?
Yes. Unless we contract with them again, but my understanding is we're not contracting or paying them anymore.
Okay. So the number 6, the aftercare, I had in my notes that contract, it ended June 25th. Is that correct? And if it is, has it been extended? Does anyone know about that one?
I have that the aftercare goes through 24-25 fiscal year,
Oh, okay,
and I believe, are contracting with them.
okay.
Yeah. So this
Okay.
would be the last year we contract, or we have for the 4 years unless you guys extend.
Right, okay. So it'd be the same approach with the last one, the crisis center, respite program. That ends evidently in June of 2027, so we
Yes.
would just decide whether we're going to continue after that. Okay. Well, thank you very much for those clarifications. That's all, those are the only questions I had. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, Andrea.
Yep.
Moving on to item 3C, discussion and possible action regarding retiring the phrase Measure B.
Thank you, Chair. Can I talk a moment? So, as we know, if you've been in Mendocino County more than 2 years, Measure B, the phrase Measure B is synonymous with the county citizens' goal of improving the services and quality of life for victims of mental illness. Now, the elections officer, so Katrina Bartolome, is the elected county recorder / elections officer. And as a constitutional officer, she has the ultimate authority of whether to retire the phrase Measure B or not. And I would like for the chair to compose a letter from Measure B committee asking her if she could retire the phrase of Measure B, and it could be for a period of time, say 25 years. But during the next 10 years, we are certainly going to continue to see the effects of the income of Measure B, whether it's going to the new PUF, whether it's going to the crisis center, mobile outreach, or whatever. And I don't want another group to put a Measure B on the ballot, which has nothing to do with mental health. We can all imagine it could be another cannabis proposition, it could be a who knows proposition, and there's certainly going to be citizen confusion regarding, I thought Measure B had to do with mental health. And I heard a speaker say something that makes a lot of sense. If something is predictable, something is preventable. And it's very predictable that Measure B, what they do is they issue the phrases Measure A, B, C, D, E, all the way through Z for that fiscal year, and then they start it again, Measure AA or Measure A. But if there's more than 26 in one year, then it goes Measure AA, Measure AB, Measure AC, and so forth. So I'm making a motion. I'm certain we'll have discussion, but I'm going to ultimately make a motion that we as a committee send a polite letter to Katrina Bartolome asking her to consider retiring Measure B consider retiring Measure B, and if she doesn't want to retire it forever and ever, then maybe we could do it for a set period like 25 years. Thank you.
I'll second that with the provision that we clarify that we're not retiring Measure B, we're retiring the use of the verbiage Measure B.
Just the
for the
phrase.
future, right?
Yes.
Because we don't want the confusion.
Yes, that's it.
And the only, okay, well, there was a
Well, you know,
motion
when-
in that second, so,
When you talk about Prop 13 in the state of California,
Good
you're
example.
thinking of Prop 13, put a limit on the taxes at that time on your properties. And if you say Prop 13 now, it still means that. And that's what our Measure B should always mean into perpetuity, that it is for mental health in the county of Mendocino.
and the phrase Measure B, if it was used again, would only be for another measure. It's not like it would be used for anything else, so that the letter to the assessor, would point out that no future measure would
Should
be
be
called Measure B. Yes?
But it is her decision.
It is just a unilateral decision by
She-
her?
She's a constitutional officer, absolutely.
Okay, okay.
If
So-
you want help writing that letter, I'll be glad to
Okay,
make it clear
good,
we're asking of her.
good. So there's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Okay, may we have a roll call on this motion?
Member Barrage?
Yes.
Member Anto?
Yes,
Member Pierce?
Yes,
Chair Evian? Chair?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Did you say Brad?
We forgot two of us, but we made the motion and seconded.
Still, we should.
Member Bradley?
Yes.
And Member Alban?
Aye, thank you.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Item 3D, discussion and possible action regarding a press release detailing the projects and programs funded by Measure B. So this came up at our last meeting, and when I spoke with Dr. Miller about our agenda and putting this on the agenda, she said she would engage staff to create something. And I,
She has a specific person on staff that does press releases. Joy Beeler,
Joy Beeler?
and I've worked with her.
No, it's no longer Joy Beller. The one who do the press release for the funds or Measure B was actually Rosanna Santos.
Oh, I didn't know Joy was. no,
Before.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Who,
Um,
what, Rosanna Santos? Okay,
And she prepared one, but because it wasn't on time when the agenda was approved, I wasn't able to attach it to the agenda, and it was posted, so.
so then, I'm assuming we should carry this item over to our next meeting?
That works.
Yes? Okay.
That won't be till December?
Well, oh, do you have the date, November?
Then that means this press release would go out until December.
Right.
November
Well,
20.
I don't think.
There's
we-
nothing that stops the Department of Behavioral Health from issuing a press release now. I mean, Janine Miller is the Director of Behavioral Health, and
Right.
she could certainly do it right now.
I agree.
So, she's aware of this. I mean, we can put it off, or just, we can, review what she puts out. I certainly have a great deal of trust in her ability to inform the citizens of what's going on, but now that we've gotten all of our major projects either completed or underway, now is the time to remind citizens, yeah, this is what we're doing. And so, she did a great press release regarding the groundbreaking of the PUF, but putting it all together, you know, for both crisis response teams, for the crisis center on Orchard, for the training center, for the PUF, I mean, it's reminding citizens that government doesn't always lie to them. When government says they're going to take their money and use it for something appropriate, we're actually following through with it, and we're doing it.
I think it should be done as soon as possible.
She has the full authority to do it, sure.
I agree. It seems like anybody I talk to says, you mean Measure B actually did something?
I know.
Yeah, it's
It's like, oh, you're finally breaking ground? Well, we've already done this and this, and this.
So the only reason I see that it would be on our agenda would be for the committee to approve the language in the press release. But as I'm hearing,
Need to.
I don't think, I don't think we need to do that either. So I think going forward, it would be nice to have something on the agenda that recognizes that a press release was done and included as part of our packet.
Yeah, I can follow up with Dr. Miller, and I know that that's being worked on to make sure that that press release gets out, and then we can maybe attach it to the next agenda. so
Great.
you guys
Need our
can read it.
blessing.
You'll probably
Okay.
see it before it's attached before the meeting, but, yeah, but we'll attach it anyways. You'll probably see it out in the press release.
Yeah.
That's what I was.
But it's really convenient to have it.
No, absolutely, Sherry. I'll
Okay.
make sure that it's attached.
Okay, moving on to item 3E, discussion regarding the status of the potential loan of Measure B funds for construction of the County Jail Behavioral Health Wing. Darcy, do you have any update on that?
Yes, an item will be going before the board on September 10th. It will be a commitment to replenish the $7 million. And again, that'll be on the 10th. It will be a regular item, so it will be up for discussion or approval of board. It's not on consent.
September 10th, the Board
Yeah.
of Supervisors.
And it will be a what item?
It's a regular item, so it'll be, it's not a consent item, so it'll be a
Oh,
regular.
okay,
So it won't be on the consent calendar. It'll be something
Right.
to talk about.
and there's an agreed upon rate for repayment of the loan of, was it 2.3%? Is that what it is?
2.5 is what approved prior in discussion.
Okay.
The annual payment of roughly $800,000 from the county back to Measure B over a period of about 10 years.
Over a period of 10 years, you said?
Yeah, 800,000 a year for about a period of 10 years.
Okay, thank you.
Keep blown.
And if I could segue that into a short comment, when you're on Low Gap Road, go by and look at the construction which is happening for the behavioral health wing of the correctional facility. It's going fast and furious, and October of next year, 2025, will be very interesting for our county because if everything goes well with the PUF will be cutting the ribbon on the PUF in October 25, and the behavioral health wing of the correctional facility will be opening in October 2025. So close to $50 million worth of improvements for behavioral health services are happening and happening soon.
Well, that's just around the corner. Great, thank you. Any other comment on that? Okay, moving on to item 3F, discussion and possible action related to an update from the Ad hoc Audit Committee on expectation/recommendation for future audits. So I can say that the Ad hoc Audit Committee has yet to meet. It consists of Darcy, Donna Moschetti, and myself. And I did get an email saying when Darcy was available, but I guess it would be my request that the county try to interface with the three of us to set up a meeting, if that's possible. Just putting times that we might be available out in an email doesn't work, but, yeah, if the county could spearhead that, that would be really useful.
So are you looking for like a doodle poll or something?
Say that again?
Like a doodle poll, so that you can put your times that you can meet?
Doodle poll for time.
Oh, a doodle poll.
Yeah, it,
Yeah,
Can you help
it
explain?
comes on your email.
okay, well, so then the county could send us that doodle poll and we would complete it? What a name.
Yeah, I would think the support staff can do that.
The what staff? Okay,
Support staff.
great, okay. Am I the only one having a hard time hearing her?
No, it's
Yeah,
a
I can
little
work with the
fuzzy.
administration staff at Behavioral Health to get that sent out.
Okay,
Does that work for doodle poll for you guys? You just have to figure out how to use it, Sherry, huh?
it's fine.
Yeah,
I have no issue with who would send it out, as long as it... Okay. So that takes us to the end of committee matters. Moving on to item 4, committee member reports. Item 4A, committee member reports regarding items of general interest.
I know you can't hear me very well, Sherry, but hopefully everyone else can. I was very impressed with the groundbreaking of the pub last week. I think that was a great opportunity to, again, showcase the work that we as the committee have been doing and supported by the board of supervisors. So I just want to say I think it was a great experience, and thank you to the team that helped put that on from the office.
Yeah,
Thank you.
second your agreement.
So I also was at the groundbreaking, and it was very good to see not just bureaucrats there, but also mental health patients and advocates there to watch this. Once again, if it's predictable, it's preventable, and during my time that I was fortunate enough to speak, I spoke of the need to have the Mendocino Community College prioritize psych tech certification, and I would like to put that on the agenda for our next meeting where we can have a representative from the college come and hear the concerns of this. And I'm not sure how we can't force anybody from the college to be here, but certainly there would be the polite way to invite them for this. Now, with that being said, I know that one of the board of trustees on the college is very active in his profession of assisting those in mental health. And Noel would be a very good person. I'm not saying who it has to be, but I think that we as a community, not just us as a committee, we as a community need to allow the college administration to hear our concerns regarding the PUF opening up in 14 months and us not having enough employees to staff it, because that was one of the 3 reasons why the PUF was voted to close in 1999, ultimately closed in January 2000. Just to remind you, the 3 reasons that the Board of Supervisors used to close the PUF was, of course, the cost. Second was the staffing. And the third, there had been a recent suicide of an inmate from the jail that had been transferred to the PUF, and very unfortunate. And so those 3 things came together, and the board in 1999 voted to close the PUF. So we're working on the money, and I don't think money is going to be the biggest problem, at least for the next 5 years. And we always try to prevent suicide, so now our third thing is trying to work to get the psych program, which could easily be modeled after the Napa Community College psych program, which is very active, and it trains locals, and we don't have to worry about local or out-of-town people coming and getting frustrated over housing, and so it's very important. So for the next agenda, if we could have somebody invite somebody from the college.
I do have,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I heard from Supervisor Mulhern after our last meeting that she's been talking to somebody at the college, she didn't give me a name, and that person was invited to the groundbreaking and did not come, but told her that they should have an answer as to whether or not they're even interested in doing a program by our next meeting.
Well, they is us, because it's called a community college, and we're the community. So I'm looking forward to having them attend the meeting.
But it's already, what I'm trying to say is
I get
it's
it.
already in the works. And Mo made a point of.
They're not constitutional officers. They don't get to make decisions like that.
Yes.
I was talking to Matt Kendall, who seemed to think that it would be a big difference between a community college and a 4-year university putting this on. I don't know why that would be, but, and I don't know the possibility, but we do have a 4-year university.
Sonoma, sure.
No,
At the
10,000 Buddhas.
Buddhas,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they can do such a thing, but I would like to, I intend to talk to somebody.
Oh,
there.
good. Let's have a battle.
Sodar,
We
this
have a
was,
4-year university.
10,000 Buddhists?
10,000 Buddhas, they have a 4-year university.
Oh, okay, I did not realize that.
So I talked to Timothy, the president of Mendocino College. I sent the invitation to come over to the meeting today. He said because the fall semester was gonna start today, he wasn't able to.
right,
But he do say that he will see us in November.
great.
He said that he will bring us all the information for mental tech on that day.
Thank you
So
very much.
I will be adding him on the agenda for next
Thank you.
meeting.
Right.
Commit
When
to
we were,
the mental health stuff? Okay, because Mo said there was no commitment to the program. He led you to believe he was committing to a program?
I don't think we can say whether he's committed or
I
not, but
don't
he
think
can
so.
certainly, when I met with, to set the agenda for this meeting, we talked about putting this on the agenda, and it was all dependent on whether or not the president or vice president of the community college could attend it. So obviously he couldn't, so yes, the next meeting. But I don't think his showing up necessarily implies that he supports it or doesn't, but he,
That's what I got from Supervisor Mulhern. that.
but certainly we can have some questions for him. I had the course would be, or it would be a licensed psychiatric technician. And when I hear that word technician, I think of a 2-year course rather than a 4-year, but that's clearly something we would want to clarify.
Let's just start the conversation with him showing up, so.
Good,
yeah, thanks.
okay.
That was it for me. Other than, just reiterating, the PUF groundbreaking is most likely, in Northern California, the most expensive groundbreaking for a mental health facility happening. And there's every reason why we should be happy, we should be proud, and the citizens should know that we're spending their money quite wisely. I'm very happy about that. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Ace, any report, committee?
Nothing to report.
Joe?
Behavioral Health Advisory Board actually met today. We've been having a hard time with quorums, and it was pretty productive, and we had a report from Tapestry that was pretty informative and amazing, and also from the Youth Project. We had quite a bit of discussion about it. So, and continuum of care. So I found that meeting to be productive, considering it has not been, to my way of thinking, as productive as that's it.
Are you able to share any information about Tapestry, the Youth Project, or Continuum?
They are working on the continuum of care. They realize that that's one of the downfalls, but Brian Erickson said they were opening a new facility, a new office up in Willits, and they're in the process of also opening one in Fort Bragg so that they can be available to citizens on both sides of the hill. It would be nice to see something finally open up in Wallala, but it's the fact that they're even coming to this side. Because all we have over here, well, Chief Cervenka has been very good in the city of Fort Bragg, but as far as the unincorporated county, which is the bulk of the coast, it's pretty difficult to get care. And as Tom knows, I mean, the sheriffs, that it's a challenge because of the distance and the roads. So the fact that they're doing anything in Fort Bragg, we do have offices there, and I have great hope that we're getting a new supervisor for District 4, and we're rearranging the board that we should have representation from Fort Bragg then too. We haven't had any representation from Fort Bragg on BHAB because Supervisor Jardy did not put anybody on the board.
Thank you. Member Antle, anything? Oh, yeah. Member Antle?
Nothing to report.
And Member Pierce?
Nothing to report.
Okay, the only thing I want to, it's not a report. It's still, I understand that the Board of Supervisors approved the RFP for construction of the PUF at the July 23rd meeting. And it's also my understanding that the county has received an RFP for operation of the PUF once it's once construction is completed. And I know that that RFP was submitted quite a while ago, which is to say probably at least 2 years ago. And I'm wondering,
I thought that was awarded to Telecare.
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Does anyone know if that has actually gone to the Board of Supervisors for approval?
I would have to defer to Dr. Miller or Mary Alice, if Mary Alice can recall. It has been quite some time. I do believe we did the bid and it was awarded, but again, it was probably a couple of years ago. I don't know, Mary Alice, if you recall.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't part of that. And so I haven't seen it either or know if that's went to the board. As far as I know, it didn't go to the Board of Supervisors, but it might have. Yeah, I really don't know, I'm sorry.
So I guess it would be for next meeting. My request is that we have an agenda item with an update on the RFP for operation of the PUF. Since,
I've added that.
okay, great. That's all I have. So item 5, communications received and filed. Communications are retained by the clerk throughout the committee proceedings. There's an email address, measureb@mendocinocounty.org, to review items described in this section. And other than that, I think we're good. Would someone like to make a motion to adjourn? Okay, well, we
What's it
are
called?
adjourned at 1:54. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
All right.